Let's get real tonight, shall we? We're not here for sweet talk or sugar-coated truths. No, tonight we're stepping into the shadows, the territory where most dare not tread. We're talking about what it feels like to walk among those who believe, foolishly, that they're clever enough to outmaneuver you. It's almost laughable, isn't it? They gaze at you, eyes glinting with that ridiculous notion, unaware of just who they're dealing with. They surround you, these self-proclaimed intellects, puffed up like peacocks, parading their so-called wisdom for anyone who'll watch. Each one so wrapped up in their delusions, thinking, look at me. See how sharp I am. They don't know. They can't begin to grasp that while they're busy building fragile towers, you're there, holding the spark, waiting for just the right moment to watch it all go up in flames. They think they understand you. They mock your silence, mistake your composure for weakness, convinced they've got you all figured out. But there lies their first fatal mistake. True power. It's not the loudest shout or the flashiest display. Real power is subtle, patient, hidden in the shadows. It's the blade they don't see, the hand they don't feel, knowing exactly where and exactly when to strike. They walk around so certain they're pulling the strings. But they've forgotten a crucial detail: not every puppet has strings. They're so intoxicated with their own sense of control, so desperate to prove they're smarter, they don't even notice the traps. Their arrogance is the rope tightening around their own necks, and they're oblivious, blinded by their own need to dominate. Ah, but that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Every smug glance, every dismissive sneer, it all feeds the very trap they're setting for themselves. They think they're outsmarting you, but all they're doing is digging deeper into a grave of their own making, one sly smile at a time. You don't need to prove a thing. You don't need their validation. You've already won, and they don't even know it. You see the whole game while they stumble around, fixated on a single piece, oblivious to the moves already in play. And when the time comes, when you finally decide to make your move, it'll hit them like a storm crashing down. They'll look around, dazed, wondering how they didn't see it coming. In that moment, they'll realize they weren't the hunters. They were always the prey. So let them sneer, let them laugh, let them bask in their delusions of superiority. They have no idea who they're dealing with. You are the calm before the storm, the silence before the thunder. And when you strike, they'll understand far too late that they were merely players in a game you've already mastered. Remember, true power doesn't come from noise or from bold claims. Real power is quiet. It's the unshakable confidence of someone who sees the whole board while everyone else is lost in the moment. Let them mock. Let them boast. Let them dance, oblivious to the strings only you hold. But here's the best part, the truly satisfying truth they'll never see coming while they're tangled up in their own arrogance, stumbling blindly forward. You're 3 steps ahead, every single time. They think their plans are foolproof, that their schemes are flawless, but they don't realize that each so-called move they make is just another step into the web you've so carefully woven. You see, while they're focused on short-lived victories, momentary applause, you're watching, studying, calculating every angle. Their need for attention is their biggest weakness, a glaring target that you could strike at any moment, but you don't. Not yet. Because real control, real power isn't in rushing to tear them down. It's in knowing you could and choosing when. So let them scramble, let them trip over their own egos. Every smug comment, every condescending nod, every time they brush you off, only digs them deeper into their own downfall. You don't need to retaliate, you don't need to defend yourself or shout for validation. No, because they are your unwitting allies in this game, pushing themselves toward the end you've already seen. And when you finally step forward, when you let the mask slip and show them who's really in control, they won't know what hit them. It'll be swift, brutal. Not with noise or fury, but with precision, with the cold, calculated strength of someone who doesn't just play the game, they own it. So remember this, let them think they're winning. Let them believe they hold the power. The quieter you are, the more control you have. In their arrogance, they're just tightening the strings you hold, writing the end of a story they don't even know they're in. And that, my friends, is how you walk among fools, calm, silent, and knowing all along that you're the one in control. Let's be clear, what they'll never understand is that power doesn't beg for attention. Real power doesn't need applause or acknowledgement. It simply exists, steady and undeniable, like a force of nature that can't be stopped. And the beauty of it? They'll walk right into it willingly, obliviously, thinking they're the ones leading. As they boast and parade their supposed dominance, they fail to see the slow build of the storm gathering right behind them. They're too busy underestimating you, mistaking your silence for surrender, your patience for passivity. But we know better, don't we? We know that silence can be sharper than any words, that patience is its own weapon, a ticking clock counting down to the moment they least expect. They think they've won because they see you standing there, calm and collected. But what they fail to realize is that calm is simply the edge of the hurricane. It's the last breath before impact, the quiet resolve of someone who doesn't waste energy proving anything to anyone. Because when the time comes, there'll be no warning, no second chances. Only the shock of realization, the sudden, cold understanding that they were never in control. So let them laugh, let them cast their judgment. Let them think they've outmaneuvered you with every smug glance, every whisper behind closed doors. They don't know that with each move, they're tightening their own noose, setting the stage for a revelation they're far too arrogant to anticipate. And when that moment arrives, when the mask finally drops and they see who truly holds the reins, it will be too late. The power they so desperately cling to will be stripped from their hands, leaving nothing but silence and regret. Because you weren't just walking among fools, you were watching them write their own ending, step by step, move by move. This is the true mastery, to stand back, to let them laugh, and to know that while they were busy building their castles in the sand, you were the rising tide, waiting, patient, unstoppable. So stand tall, remain silent, and let them keep believing in their own illusions, because soon enough they'll realize they were only ever walking into your shadow. Let them bask in their fleeting confidence, that shallow high that comes from underestimating you. Let them cling to their illusions, oblivious to the storm brewing right before their eyes. Because here's the truth, they're playing a game they don't even understand. They're pushing pieces across the board, believing they hold the advantage, unaware that each move is one you've already anticipated. You see, while they're so busy underestimating you, they've already made their greatest mistake, mistaking your quiet strength for weakness, your patience for passivity. But silence is where power gathers, where strategy sharpens, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And when that moment arrives, there will be no need for fanfare, no need to explain. They'll simply stand there bewildered, as every plan they thought was foolproof crumbles like dust in their hands. Imagine their faces stunned and pale, as they realized they were nothing more than pawns in a game they couldn't even see. The irony is delicious. They thought they were in control, that they were leading. But the truth, they were following every subtle turn, every quiet shift that you orchestrated without a single wasted word. They'll try to backtrack, to cover their missteps, but it will be too late. Their arrogance has already betrayed them. The very pride that made them mock you, ignore you, dismiss you, that pride has paved their downfall in the end. They'll be left with nothing but a bitter taste of regret, standing in the shadow of the power they never saw coming. So let them keep underestimating you. Let them cling to their illusions, unaware that with each laugh, each dismissive smirk, they're only tightening their own chains. You don't need to prove yourself. You're not in this to seek validation or recognition. You're in this to show that true power speaks in actions, not words. Then when you finally reveal the strength they so foolishly doubted, they'll realize, all too late, that they never stood a chance.